Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. My name is Wang Ahmad Altafaik and my identity number is 21030174012. I'm from Math Education 2021 from UCLAS, and in this occasion I'm going to explain about conditional sentence. Have you heard about conditional sentence? What is conditional sentence? Conditional sentence are statements discussing non-factor or hypothetical situation and their consequence. It's like suppose something, and if you are have a wish that you have a cat, you can say like uh, if if only I have cat, I will play all day with my cat. That's a conditional sentence. Like suppose something. Complete conditional sentence contain a conditional clause, or we can call it as if clause, and the consequence we can call it as main clause. Like the explanation, like my explanation before about if only I have a cat, that's a if clause, and the consequence or main clause is I will play with my cat all day. It's the consequence from my if clause, that if only I have cat. So it's like when you have cat, uh, what will you do about your cat? And the other example is like if she comes here, I will give her a gift. In here, if she comes here as a if clause, and I will give her a gift, it's main clause, because this if clause, if this happen, you will give the consequence. When she comes here, you will give the consequence. So the consequence is you will give her a gift. That's why this is, we call it as a main clause. Okay, there are three types of conditional sentence. I will explain why type 0 it's doesn't classify to conditional sentence on the next page. So there are three types of conditionals: type 1, type 2, and type 3. Type 0 and type 1, it's classified to royal conditional, and type 2 and type 3, they are classified to unreal conditional. There are rules about using conditional sentence, and you have to pay attention about verb tense when using different conditional modes, like using comma after the if clause when the if clause on the first sentence. After if clause you will have to take the comma, then you put the main clause. If you don't wanna use comma, you can take the main clause to the first sentence, then if clause. You will no need take the comma if the main clause will be the first sentence. Okay, we are going to type 0. This type is used to give instruction like using imperative or the word command. We can also use this type to describe a general truth and scientific fact. That's why this type doesn't classify to conditional sentence, because conditional sentence it's like assuming something, and this type it's uh, talking about the truth, scientific fact. So this is like this is not about assuming something. And when you are going to use this type, the rule is you can write if plus simple present, then don't forget take the comma and simple present. The example is, if you heat water, it boils. In here, you heat water, it's simple present, and it boils, it's also simple present. Or you can say water boils if you had it. See, in here, water boils, it's main clause. If you take the main clause on the first sentence, you don't need take the comma after main clause. Just write the if clause after main clause. Okay, we are going to type 1. The first conditional sentence are used to express situation in which the outcome is likely to happen in the future. It's like assuming something in the future and have a big chance will happen if the condition is fulfilled. The condition in here, it means if clause. If the if clause is fulfilled, the consequence will be happen. It's likely to happen in the future. That's why the in here it's future possible, that because it has have a big chance likely to happen in the future. Okay, the rule in here is if plus simple present, then comma, simple future. Example, if you study hard, you will get success. If you study hard, is simple present, then tag comma because the if clause as a first sentence, then you will get success. It's classified as simple future because there is will and verb 1 get simple future. Or you can take the main clause as a first sentence, so you don't need to put the comma after main clause. You will get success if you study hard. Okay, the second conditional. Second conditional sentences are useful for expressing outcomes that are completely unrealistic or will not likely happen in the future. It's like assuming something in the present that the reality opposite the current state. And that's why this type is present unreal, because it has a small chance will be happen. And the rule is if plus simple past and past future. If I had much money, this is a simple past, comma, I would buy a car. I would buy, would and verb 1, that's past future. Or you can take the main clause on the first sentence, I will buy a car if I had much money. And the reality is you are now doesn't have much money. That's why you will not buy a car. It's opposite the current state. That's why it's has a small chance will be happen. uh, it's almost completely unrealistic. Okay, the last type, that's the third conditional sentence, are used to explain that present circumstance would be different if something different had happened in the past. It's like assuming something that happened in the past and it's impossible to happen. And the rule, if plus past perfect, comma, plus future perfect. Okay, we are going to example. If she had driven carefully, she would not have gotten an accident. This is if clause. If she had driven carefully, she had driven is past perfect because had and verb 3 it's past perfect. And don't forget to put the comma because the if clause is the first sentence. Then she would not have gotten an accident. This sentence is classified to past future perfect. Or you can take the main clause on the first sentence. Then you don't need to take the comma after main clause. So she would not have gotten an accident if she had driven carefully. Now you can see the sentence. This is actually a regret. Of course, this is of course a regret because she would not have gotten an accident if she had driven carefully. The reality is she drove she doesn't drove carefully, so she would she have gotten an accident. This is called as past unreal because we can change the something that happened in the past. That's why this is called as past unreal. It's different from type 2. It has a small chance will be happen. Okay, thank you for watching my video. Wassalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.